I'm going to show you how to actually break free from the matrix with a very specific technique that you probably never even heard of. And believe it or not, this technique is more than likely making or breaking your freedom from the matrix, both externally and internally. So when I first started out as a coach, I knew that I wanted to break free. And by that, I wanted to become a coach because I wanted time and location freedom. For me, it was really important that I did not have a 9-to-5 job. I didn't want to just follow suit and quote unquote be a slave to society or to, our collective ego or to the powers that be. For me, it was really important. Like, freedom has always been important to me to this day. It's something that I'm very passionate about and that I stand up for. And if you're watching this video and you have the same aspirations of wanting to become a coach, a life coach, freedom is probably very important for you and one of your top 5 values. And so that's what it was for me. But when you take a look at, okay, time, location, freedom, or freedom from being a 9-to-5er, meaning you're not your own boss, you're not in control of your own life, or even financial freedom, if you take a look at that type of freedom. These types of freedoms are very important if we really are going to live at our full potential here on this earth. However, it's not the actual path to attaining true freedom. The true freedom actually comes from the inside out. And until you actually attain that freedom, you could potentially get the other 3. You get the time, location, freedom. You could be your own boss and have your own business as a coach. And you can have financial freedom, even as a coach, a life coach. But if you don't have the freedom on the inside first, then you're still going to be chasing these things even after you attain them. Probably pretty obvious, right? But the question is how much time are we giving to our inner temple? How much time are we actually learning how to create freedom from the inside out before we actually have it on the outside? So to start, I think it's important to take a look at this. Every cause starts out as a vibration. So the cause of every effect starts out vibrationally. How you're being, how you're feeling. So if freedom is so important to you and you want to break free from the matrix and you're doing everything that you can to be your own boss, have financial freedom, have time and location freedom, and really be the creator of your own life, then what does it feel like to not be free? Obviously, you're doing this for a reason, meaning you're wanting to become a life coach or you're wanting to be free from these other things that I've mentioned. So why is that? What does it feel like to not be free? Well, a common few answers that you might get is feeling trapped, feeling hopeless, feeling lost. And so what we're actually doing though, what the key here is to not get an external solution for these things. The key is actually, it's finding freedom through these feelings. The solution has to do with a feeling solution. I'll repeat that. The solution has to do with the feeling, not the external solution. So if you're not feeling free, if you're feeling limited financially, the first step to actually attaining financial freedom is to find freedom within your financial limitation. To find freedom emotionally speaking. So when you're feeling really limited financially, or you're feeling really trapped in general, trapped in your relationship, the way to actually gain freedom in that relationship is to find your freedom within feeling trapped. This is the major key. So consider this for a moment. If you're feeling trapped, or you're feeling angry, or you're feeling lost, or you're feeling etc., from frustrated, because you don't have the freedom of being your full potential or being your true self in physical form. And you're angry about that. You know you have that extra potential, right? And yet your results don't reflect it. So consider for a moment, if you act and you move and you choose to do something out of that feeling of frustration, where might that get you? Like, really consider this for a moment. If that's your vibration, what are you going to attract? More of the frustration, right? Now, on the surface, it might appear a good thing. It might appear like, oh, well, if I'm angry, then that could get me to, shape up and start making some good choices. And perhaps that's true. But if you're still acting out of anger, even though you're making quote unquote good choices, what you're doing is you actually are creating more of that. What you're doing is you're creating a reality from that lack-based vibration, because what you're angry about, you feel you don't have. And so to create from that place of what you don't have is literally going to attract the same experiences. So this is how, back whenever I was in process of becoming a coach and going full time, to where I didn't have to have another job and I didn't have to have another boss, etc. Part of the sabotage that I kept going through was I couldn't sustain a job that I was at because I didn't like it, or whatever. I couldn't sustain it. Either I was fired or I was quitting. And then I would just try to make my business work without any training. And sometimes even I did have training. At some point I did have training, and yet when I was in these in-between job places, I was trying so hard. And because I was trying so hard, and either I didn't have the training or I just simply wasn't ready, what I was doing was I would actually sabotage my income to the point to where I wouldn't accept that I wasn't ready. I wouldn't accept that I didn't have the skills. And I took it so personally. As in, like, this is a personal thing now. If I can't do this, then, I've failed, or I'm not good enough. And so my point, though, is that I was still creating from this place of lack. I didn't actually see myself as a successful coach yet. I was trying to be one. And so it just created this pattern of job, in between, try to make coaching work, didn't work, another job, in between time came, I got fired or I let it go, and then I would try to make my business work and it would never work. And there was this constant stop and go and a constant sabotaging of my money, because in that in-between place when I was trying to make my coaching business work, I would only have so much money. And then once I realized I couldn't do it, because that's where I was creating from, I would end up dwindling money, and then I'd have to go to that cycle of having to repeat another job. So the point is that was a part of the consequence of creating from a lack-based vibration, of not feeling free and desperately wanting to feel free and needing to feel free and knowing that I could, and so, but still coming from that place of not having it. And so the solution here has to do with bringing attention to processing the feeling of not being free, and coming to a place of freedom or peace or contentment or something along those lines, versus looking for an external solution to avoid the feelings of being trapped, to get rid of the feelings of frustration. This is not the strategy. This is going to beget more of what you're feeling. And so this is the solution. The solution has to do with bringing attention to recognizing that the solution is a feeling-based solution. The solution is about finding the feeling prior to the external. It's about finding an emotional solution to the emotional problem that you're experiencing. That is the path. But the way that we've been conditioned, and through our external environment, aka our ego, or aka the collective ego, or aka even the powers that be, everything, because that's how the matrix is set up, is designed to get you to not go inward and think that your external world is your king, is your master, is your queen, whatever. So this is what we want to start bringing our attention towards, is recognizing that on an emotional level, it has everything to do with moving into these feelings of feeling trapped, moving into these feelings of limitation, and ultimately through them, so that you come out on the other side prior to taking action, prior to making new choices that from your perspective are going to empower you, or are going to set you free, or move you closer to that freedom. You need to get to this point of giving yourself the emotional solution before you're taking action, because that's the vibrational place you're creating from, which is going to change the quality of choices that you make shortly after that. In other words, you need to feel it before you see it. You need to feel it before you take actions. How do we do this? So the first piece, and this is the hidden technique that I'm going to share with you here, the secret. And it is a secret, because if you were just enlightened there a little bit, then chances are you've been going about it maybe in not so good of a way. So what we want to do is we want to first start by getting into these feelings of trapped, and getting into these feelings of frustration, getting into these feelings of whatever it is, of not having your freedom. So when you're feeling that, the idea here is to move through it and connect with these feelings of limitation. We're not trying to get rid of the feeling. What we're trying to do, and what our goal is, what our intention is to actually understand the feeling. Is to understand the feeling and then give the feeling what it needs. So here's how you do this specifically. Because here's the thing. You want the energy to move. These feelings of trapped, if we're constantly avoiding them, that means that they're still inside. They're not moving. They're not releasing. And that's what we want to do. Because in order to get to the feelings of freedom or peace or contentment on the other side, we have to move through these feelings of whatever they might be, in terms of not feelings of limitation. So here's the technique. You want to take a journal when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling trapped, when you're feeling these feelings. Take a piece of paper and ask yourself this question, and I would encourage you to write this down and keep this close near you, nearby you. The question is, if this feeling of trapped or frustration, etc., was given a voice, what might it say? What this is going to do is it's going to allow you to feel the feeling completely. So as you ask yourself that question, if this feeling was given a voice, this feeling of trapped was given a voice, what might it say? You're going to start to journal out everything that comes up, and I'd like you to set a timer for 10 minutes. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just keep writing. Keep writing on what this feeling is saying. You really want to allow these emotions to move. You want to allow these emotions to be released so that you can get to what's on the other side. But you can't skip it. You can try, but it's not going to work. You're going to be brought back. You're going to repeat. So you're not ridding the feeling. You're actually feeling it through. You're seeing it through. You're hearing it through completely. So set a timer, journal this out until for 10 minutes. Now, if you literally don't have anything else to write, then that's good. That means you've ideally, hopefully, you've completely felt it through. And you'll know, because there won't be anything left to write. Like you'll have a sense of completion. You'll almost have this sense of like, it felt good to be able to just get that off my chest, even if you're just writing it. But this is what's going to allow the new to come in. Try this technique, try this practice, because as soon as you start allowing these old feelings to move and to be released, at some point or another, that's when the new is going to be able to make its way in. This is how you start breaking free from the matrix. It's about actually feeling and experiencing and understanding fully what it's like to be limited, to be a slave, to feel trapped, to feel limited, to understand where these are coming from. That's why it's there. It has a purpose. It has a message. It has a reason. And it's up to us to discover what that reason is. People say, oh, there's a reason for everything, which is true. But it doesn't mean that you just, oh, there's a reason. No, it's up to you. It's up to you to discover what that reason is. It truly is. It's your responsibility. And this is one of the ways that you can do it. You do that by processing your feelings, by going through the feelings. And instead of going for an external solution to get rid of the feeling or to cover the feeling up, it's about finding that emotional, spiritual solution to the feeling after you've released it. After you've released it, after you've done this 10 minutes and wrote down that question and filled it out for 10 minutes. If you have any questions about this, or you have some really awesome feedback in terms of results that you've gotten from this, please come back, leave a comment. You're also welcome to book a consultation with me, and we can go much, much deeper than all of this. But this is the biggest trap in breaking free from the matrix, is chasing these other things that supposedly have your freedom. When the truth is that true, real, lasting freedom is found on the inside first, and that's how you ultimately end up experiencing the freedom of finances, the freedom of location, the freedom of creating your life as you see fit, and ultimately being a coach and making contribution in the way that you feel is right. In order for those things to happen and for them to be truly fulfilling, it happens from the inside out first. So with that, I leave you. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you next time.